welcome back to Sam and Casey. So today I am going to be making a mountain cake out of some gingerbread cake with some orange cream cheese frosting and then a red wine simple syrup. So Casey and I are going to still be doing videos where it's just the two of us, fun stuff that we do, challenges, some vlogs, but I am also going to be doing some more baking videos, some cooking videos, and we have a lot of fun stuff planned for the future, and we hope that you guys stick around, subscribe, tell your friends, and just see us grow as our channel develops. So what I did first was I made the gingerbread cake, but I made it a day before. So I made the cakes on the 23rd, and I was decorating this on Christmas Eve. And so I just want a simple syrup of the cake to ensure that it's going to be really moist and delicious. And I just dabbed on the simple syrup onto the cakes. You don't have to use it all, but you do want to be a little bit generous here so that simple syrup seeps through the cake, because this cake is very dense, and so I want the whole cake to be moist and just not a thin layer on top. For the simple syrup, it's just 1 part sugar, 1 part water. But in this case, I added a half red wine. So I did about a half a cup of water, half a cup of red wine, and then a cup of sugar. Now it's time to stack the cakes. So what I did first was I took a layer of cake. I set it on my Lazy Susan. I did take a cardboard circle, and I took 1 layer of cake. I took some of the cream cheese frosting, and for this cream cheese frosting I just did cream cheese, butter, powdered sugar, vanilla, and a little bit of cream, and then I just whipped that up until the right consistency. And then I wanted to add some orange because I think the ginger orange and the red wine will all pair great together. I took the zest of 2 oranges and then just the juice of 1 orange. And I really wanted to make sure that it was the right consistency. I did not want my frosting to be too runny, or else it would just run all the cake, and the cake's when it's stacked, it would seep through. And so I just added the juice of 1 orange. So then I filled each layer. I took just a pat of the frosting. I just eyeball it at this point, whatever you think is great. I don't like a ton of frosting within my cakes, especially when it's cream cheese frosting, because it makes a very decadent, a very rich cake. And so a little does go a long way. And so I just stacked up the cakes, each 3 layers, and then I did crumb coat the cake. This crumb coat just to ensure that any crumbs that are going to be left over is not going to show through your cake, and you just want to chill the cake. And so once the whole cake was frosted, I just set it in the fridge for about 30 minutes to an hour. So I divided the frosting within 4 bowls. I kept 1 bowl white, and then I dyed the rest different shades of blue. And what I was going for was I wanted the bottom of the cake, the closest mountains, the darker, and then going up to the top. So I started with the dark blue, and then I moved on from there. And a little bit of dye goes a long way. Now we're going to move on to assembling the gingerbread houses. For this cake, I want the sides of it to look as the mountain side, and then on top a nice house, a nice little neighborhood on top of the mountain. I just bought a box of those 4 mini little gingerbread houses, and so I just took 2 of them and I built them. And this part was very frustrating for me. I felt like gingerbread houses are not my favorite thing because they are very time consuming, but if you do them correctly they can look amazing. But I felt like it was a little bit more difficult because I didn't have them sitting on a cardboard box. Since I was going to be moving them to the cake, I didn't have a bottom underneath them. So once my gingerbread houses were assembled, I set them off into the freezer so that they were hardened up a little bit faster, because I was doing this cake at about midnight, I think, on Christmas. Well, I guess it would be Christmas Day at that point. So I was working all night. I started at 9 p.m. and I was up until 3 in the morning, Christmas morning, doing this cake. Houses, I wanted it to look like, since they were on top of a mountain, I wanted the gingerbread houses to really have in effect a snow. So I just took my little offset spatula and I took some of the royal icing and I just spread it on, and then I kind of just dabbed the top of the cake, of the roof, just to make it look like snow. And then just decorate how the houses you want. I went really simple. My camera did cut out at this point. My battery died for both cameras, and so I went and I left those charged, but I didn't want to just stop and wait for the cameras to charge, so I did go forward. But during that time, I just finished decorating the houses. I did add some lights to the houses. I outlined the doors, the wreath, and I also made, I think I do have footage for this, I took some fondant, I dyed a little bit gray, and then I rolled it out to make it look like a marble scene, like stone, and using just a round piping tip, I cut out little circles. I worked it a little bit in my fingers so that it wasn't a perfect circle, and I set those off to the side, and I covered them with a little bit of plastic so that the fondant wouldn't dry out because it was really thin. But during the point where my camera was turned off, I just glued, using a little bit of royal icing, I glued those stones onto the side of one of the house to look like a stone wall. Since the crumb coat and chill is done, I did pull the cakes out of the fridge. I started about a third away up the cake, and I just frosted the entire cake, the top of it, with my cream cheese frosting. And then I took my offset spatula and I took my darkest blue and I worked up the side of the mountain. When you're doing something new, something creative, something that you've never done before, you do want to take your time and you want to go slow because it's something important to you and you want it to look great. And in this case, I wasn't really sure how I was going to get that mountainside look, the look that I wanted. So I spread some of the blue, the darkest blue, on the side of the cake, and then I was kind of just pulling up and going down with the offset spatula just to make the points of the mountain. And then I moved up from the darkest blue to the lightest blue. But as I got to the top of the lightest blue, I realized that I didn't really have that effect of the closest mountain in front of the other mountain. So I went back in with my other blues and I just did the same effect, pulled up and down over the lighter blue color before it. But as I looked at the cake, I realized that for me, it looked more like an ocean, more like waves than it did mountainsides. So what I did, I had some of the royal icing, just white royal icing left over. So I just piped some snow caps onto the mountains. But you don't want to go overboard. You don't want to put snow caps on every single mountain peak that you have, or it's just going to make the cake look messy and crowded. There's some trees onto the cake itself, and then using that same white royal icing, I added some snow onto the trees. And then I dyed a little bit of my green royal icing that I had left, a dark brown color, just to add the stumps of the trees onto the cake as well. Now it's time to add the houses. I had mine offset, kind of pointed into each other, and then I took the three little trees that I made with the cone, and I just put those off to the side of the house, behind the house, in front. And I thought to myself, I was like, these houses are missing something. And so I did have some of the leftover white royal icing, and so I went back into the houses and I piped icicles on all four sides of the houses, and then I did pipe a little bit of snowballs or snow building up onto the house so that it looked like it did just freshly snow. And then just for insurance, I did dust the whole cake one more time with powdered sugar so that the little mini trees would have some snow on it, that the houses would have extra snow on them, and just the sides of the house. I just moved it to a really fun, classic cake stand. It was just a marble cake stand that I have with a wooden bottom, but to ensure I hid the cardboard, I just took some leftover cream cheese frosting that I had, and I just spread it onto the rest of the cake stand itself, so that looked like snow, and I did my best to powdered sugar and dust that as well. I do have the recipes for the cake and the cream cheese frosting listed down below, so make sure you go and check those out. But thank you guys for watching. I do hope that you guys subscribe, share this video, give it a thumbs up, and I hope that you guys do stick around for more videos from Casey and I. There definitely will be more cooking and making videos if that's something that you guys are interested in. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.